Welcome everyone, and we're going to take a look at the gospel we heard this past Palm Sunday. This is week 6 of a 7-week series called Lent, a spiritual boot camp. And our spiritual boot camp is coming to an end. There are 4 gospels about the life of Jesus, and I find it fascinating that on the most important things, they're absolutely in sync with one another. But when you read them carefully and compare them to each other, there are some differences and some kind of important differences, or at least intriguing differences. So this year we read from Mark, and what I'd like to do is focus on what's unique in Mark's gospel. You know, in Mark's gospel, the overarching thematic feature of Mark's passion account, is heartbreaking. It's the absolute lack of any consolation in Jesus' life during his passion. It's heartbreaking. So what does that mean? You know, let's take a look at what's missing from Mark's gospel that's found in the other gospels. You know, in Mark's gospel, unlike Matthew, there's no wife of Pilate who has a dream, who says to her husband, have nothing to do with this man, he's innocent. There's no Judas who realizes that he's done a terrible thing and who gets the coins and throws them back and says, he's an innocent man. Okay? Unlike Luke, there's no women on the road to Calvary that are weeping because of what has happened to Jesus. And there's no good thief who turns to the bad thief and says, stop mocking him, turns to Jesus and says, can I be with you this day in paradise? And unlike John, there's no beloved disciple and mother at the foot of the cross, and there's no royal burial by Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea using 100 pounds of costly oil. None of that. This heartbreaking absence of consolation continues with Jesus on the cross. From the cross, unlike in Matthew, Jesus doesn't say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Nor does he say, today you will be with me in paradise, like he does in Luke's gospel. Nor does he say, as he does in John's gospel, this great triumphant statement, it is finished. I've accomplished what I came to do. None of that. In Mark's gospel, the only thing Jesus says is, my God, why have you abandoned me? That's taken from Psalm 22. And this is said in Hebrew or Aramaic in Mark's gospel. So it adds kind of a mysterious feel to it. You know, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. And then it has to be translated because you don't know what it means. And then when it's translated, it's my God, why have you abandoned me? This is the only time in Mark's gospel where Jesus simply calls God, God. He doesn't call him Abba, doesn't call him my Father, doesn't call him Lord. He just says, God, why have you done this to me? Okay, so it's pretty serious. You know, this brutal portrayal of Jesus, emphasizes Jesus' heroic determination to be faithful to the will of God, even in the midst of horrific suffering. It's a brutal portrayal. You can't deny it. But it's interesting that because it's so brutal, it shows you how much trust Jesus has in his Father and his determination to accept his Father's will. So, if I had to summarize Mark's Passion account, it would be sort of like this. In horrific suffering, Jesus remains obedient to God. In horrific suffering, Jesus remains obedient to God. Okay, so how can we apply this gospel to our lives this week? You know, we Christians believe that the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ are the most important events in the history of humanity. It's through these events, the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, that all of humanity is restored and redeemed and saved and put into a right relationship with God. These events are remembered or memorialized in a special way in our rituals and our liturgical celebrations this week. But this is what's important. They're not just memorialized like as historic events in the past. When we celebrate these rituals and these sacraments, these rituals and sacraments represent them. And somehow, in a mysterious way, we can access the grace of these events that happened 2,000 years ago. So this is what I'm going to encourage all of you to do this week. Okay. Participate in at least one of the special liturgies that your parish offers this Holy Week. Participate in at least one of the sacred liturgies that your parish celebrates this week. So, here we go. You know, parishes always have communal celebrations of reconciliation. They'll have a penance service. Well, be part of that penance service. Set some time aside at the beginning, 10 or 15 minutes, where there's a brief prayer service, and then there's the opportunity to go to confession. Go to confession this Lent. It can be one of the best things that you can do, and you'll experience the mercy that God offers us in the sacrament. What else? You know, there are lots of popular devotions offered in our parishes, like the Stations of the Cross or Tenebrae. So participate in the Stations of the Cross and reimagine what it must have been like for Jesus to go through what he did to save us. Finally, there's lots of ecumenical prayer services often offered during this time of the year. So look at other Christian churches nearby, or your own parish if you're having one, and celebrate with other Christians what we share in common. We all believe in the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So let's celebrate that unity this week. What else? Besides being part of a local church, the parish, every Catholic is part of the larger church, the diocese or archdiocese. So maybe you can participate in an archdiocesan or a diocesan liturgical celebration. Probably the easiest one to do would be the Chrism Mass, which is usually held on Thursday in the morning, Holy Thursday. And the Chrism Mass is when chrism is blessed by the bishop or archbishop, as well as the other oils that are used in the sacraments that we celebrate. So try to participate in the Chrism Mass if you can. The most important events this week happen on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And they're called the 3 days, or in Latin, the Triduum, the 3 days. So participate in the celebration of our Lord's Supper on Holy Thursday. This is when we celebrate the gift of the Eucharist. And also it's an opportunity for priests and deacons to recommit themselves to service in the church. Good Friday is the solemn celebration of our Lord's Passion. That's either offered in the afternoon, lots of times at 3 o'clock, or in the evening. Participate in that. It's really a very sober, a very moving remembrance of Jesus' Passion. The most important ritual, the most important liturgy in the whole liturgical year happens Holy Saturday night. It's the Easter Vigil. It is a powerful experience. If you've never participated in it, Do it. It's wonderful. And then finally, of course, celebrate Mass on Easter Sunday, either in the morning. Some parishes offer a service in the afternoon, or Mass Easter Sunday night. So, participate in at least one of the liturgical services that your parish offers this week, and it will be a great way to put our faith into practice. Thank you, and God bless.